Namaste, Stormie Calder here. In this video, I'm going to take you through some pretty steep reflections I've had recently around becoming authentic and healing publicly out in the open and how I perceive that. Because I know it's going to be really valuable for you guys to see how I've been able to embrace my own authenticity and what's been going on behind the scenes through my entire content journey. It is my hope and my wish and my prayer that this inspires you to step out as you are now, to make the changes now in who you are and stop waiting for some level of like perfection before you enter the game. Enter as you are, embrace yourself authentically. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I've done that. And I really feel like this is so beneficial to pull this veil back a little bit and show behind the scenes what drives my content besides business, because I know I do things differently and I know people don't quite understand it, and I've been kind of hoarding this data in my mind because I don't realize that everybody needs it. I'm just literally like, I'm just doing my thing and healing myself. And it occurred to me this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, people don't understand this. Let me start showing, because that's how I show I care. I show, I tell, I explain, I share the stories, and that's not typical for people in business. It's not even necessarily typical for content creators. It's not typical for the matrix. To get what you want from the matrix, you often have to meet other people's expectations. So it's been a long healing journey for me to meet my own expectations and to show continually that personal growth and spiritual ascension with a primary practice on self-care, which is not like this gentle idea of taking bubble baths, like self-care and self-love that is so deep, and I'll go into it a little bit in the stream, that you don't mind if people don't like you, if people can't like find a way to grow with you or approve of you. And of course there will always be people that approve of you as well, but I think one of my biggest struggles in life, and I feel like I'm saying this because this is one of the biggest struggles in life, period, for any human, is how the hell do you acknowledge your own expectations of who you want to become, who you are, unlock your inner authenticity when the world is literally trying to stifle it. The world is trying to place you in a box. For women, this message is so strong. Like, society tries to place you in a box. Women are so multidimensional, so expansive, so multifaceted, and get criticized the absolute most. So if you're a woman looking to discover more of who you are, then listen up. I'm going to teach through example by describing my own personal reflections and lessons. I may decide to go into detail more on why I do that in general, but the short way of telling you why I talk so goddamn much about myself is because I don't want to project onto people. I don't want to make people believe things or trap them into a mental complex, which is what happens with a lot of experts and a lot of creators and a lot of people in spiritual and personal development work. I speak from my authentic experience because I want you to draw your own ideas. I'm not here to do the thinking work for you. I'm here to reflect on my thinking work and for you to reflect on that. Sit with yourself and decide who the fuck you are. That's the whole point. Who are you? I'm not going to tell you who you are, but there are a lot of experts that will. Truly, I'm going to create the space like I do all the time for you guys to grow and develop and discover who you are. And I'm holding that loving space. And the way that I hold that loving space in a way that most people don't meet in other humans is because I have the deepest well of self-love for myself. And again, there just aren't words to describe. Like, self-love is such a... It almost doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm feeling the word, the term self-love, the energy behind it, and I'm like, there are almost no light codes behind it. It's turned into this superficial, like, bubble bath self-care routine, and it's a form of self-love, but it's pretty minor. I'm gonna take you through what real self-love is. What I see self-love is authenticity, is breaking the mold. Doing what you're told spiritually, even when it's completely unpopular in the physical material world, which, newsflash, your soul doesn't give a shit about the material world. Your soul wants to know that your heart is developing in a way that is synchronistic with your soul. Your heart and your soul are pretty synonymous. Your mind is what creates all those neuroses and complexes to try to get other people to like you so that you can have resource. and provision. And again, I'm going to take you through my journey here because I just think it's important. I think it's nice to share, and it'll show you the journey, because so many people will see me at some point in my journey and be like, oh my God, she did all of this. This is just who she is. It's like, yo, I've been doing this for eons. I've been working my process, and I leave my process up online because my entire healing process is very public. It's very public. And that would be traumatizing for most people. I just haven't minded because I have been blessed with not having many secure relationships in my life since I was much younger. And I'm saying blessed because most of you would be like, oh my God, how traumatizing. It's like, well, yeah, but I mean, there's freedom. There's a lot of freedom when you're not attached to people. A lot of freedom. So I've been able to work my process of showing my healing publicly because I'm not afraid of hurting someone in my environment, because I actually don't have people in my environments or in my psychology that I care to people please, that I care to please really in any way. Most of what I do in my reflections, in my content, in how I produce, is to show the example that authenticity can be saved. I think we're entering an era of humanity where it's actually going to get squashed even more. When I read the collective energy, like AI is going to take this shit over. Authenticity is not, it's going to be rare. It's already rare. Even a lot of the people that you follow online that you think are authentic are faking authentic. And it's like there's so much falsehood going on. I don't know what else to do other than just cut through the noise and say, like, if you want to know what authenticity is, let me show you some of it. Eat from some of this pie. And then when you go see another apple pie down the road, you'll be like, oh, right, that's authenticity. Like, that's the apple pie and not fucking carrot cake or chocolate or whatever you're looking for, okay? Oh my gosh. All right, let's go into some lessons. So in your life, when we talk about authenticity, I want you to think about, what are you prioritizing in your life and why? What value does it give to you? The things that you prioritize. And what are you working through? What are you developing on the way? Most people prioritize appearance. Hold on, my guides are like chipping into my head. What's going on? They're like, stay on target. They're bringing me back to a target. Okay, so let me just jump in and talk about what self-love really is. It's about understanding your priorities, and your priorities should be how you see and perceive your world and how you move through it from the place of understanding your priority, which is your authenticity. I'm also going to say the phrase, do no harm, take no shit, because I feel like some people could say authenticity, like I'm just being authentic, and then they're just like degrading people around them or whatever. Like, we're not here for that, okay? But I want to give you some examples on my content. So here's what I did this morning. I skimmed through my YouTube and some of my other content, and only I know my strategy. And I've known my strategy through the years, and I know it's not always a popular strategy, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, you know, people are like, oh, you could make content in this vein, or you could do this for this audience so that you could grow faster, or what have you. My content is a public healing strategy. And that is what feels authentic for me, is that I'm able to heal through creation. I heal through creating. I heal through speaking, and I heal through the dynamic relationship of you witnessing me moving through my process, and you gain from me by me being willing enough, God willing, to share my process with you. Everyone holds their process back. Everyone holds these intentions back because it's terrifying to show them. Because then when people actually strike you or criticize you when you're authentic, they're criticizing you and you feel it as you. There's no like mask to dodge and get away from. So I was reviewing my content and I realized, you know, I don't know, it just really hit me in the face. I was like, wow, I've gone through so many phases. And I was like, it would be so good for me to show the example and for healing for myself to describe what those phases were throughout my YouTube journey. So why do I choose to create in the style of what I do? Why do I go about things in a certain way? I'm going to tell you. I have reverse engineered my entire content strategy to heal my psychological trauma, to heal the emotional abuse patterns that were passed down to me through my generational, I'll call them patterns, they're hexes, they're curses, they're neuroses, mental illness that was passed through the generational lines. I create my content strategy through the years as it shifts and changes to hold myself accountable publicly to who I am, who I've become, and the most authentic part of my heart. And I show all different aspects of that. I don't have to land on one facet. I'm only showing many aspects of it. But I know that this is a different way of doing content. So theme number 1 for me is authentic expression. I create my content authentically, meaning I will swear here and there. I mean, you've already heard me do it. Even though I am a professional, like it just, I am authentic in everything that I'm curating and cultivating within myself. How I speak, I have decided not to speak in a more polished way on purpose because it's less authentic to who I am as a human. The way that I dress, I have kept in a vein of only what I would wear for myself. I do not dress for other people. I do have a high level of attention to grooming, to cleanliness, to minimalism. I have a very minimalist wardrobe in general. It's grown through the last couple of years because I got a big closet. But I am very, very minimalist. So when I look at authentic expression, why is it such a core value for me and why is it so healing for me? It's not just a post-it note on my refrigerator, like, whoa, be authentic, okay? It's because this is a core value for me because I grew up around severe neuroses, around severe mental illness. I grew up with narcissists. My parents were narcissistic. And I was always acting to a level of impossible perfection standards in order to get attention and in order to get love. I'm going to put the love in the big air quotes because I never actually received love. I received love, like we'll pretend to love you. That's what I received. In exchange for perfection, I received pretend to love. I know a lot of you will fit into this as well, so I know that'll resonate. And those perfection standards were there to please the adult caretakers around me who had personality disorders and mood disorders. So in a scenario like that, and there are many children that grow up in scenarios like this, I'm not the only by any means, it's just like, by what degree do you come into self-awareness to acknowledge this within yourself? The caretaker roles reverse. This happens to a lot of children in scenarios like this where you're steeped in mental conflict in your environment. My guides are reeling me back in. They're like, come back. One sec. In order to heal the wounding pattern of perfection, you have to openly and publicly be imperfect to your own eyes and assimilate your nervous system to feel safe in environments and scenarios that would feel the most unsafe for your inner child. For example, my inner child felt the most unsafe being authentic in absolutely any way. Like, I worldwide dream of the child of me, wanted to be an actress. When I was 4, I was like practicing. I was like, I'm gonna be an actress. And where does that come from? Is it like God's gift? Like maybe. I think it's being raised by the parents that I was raised by. You know, there's a level of perfection that we create in our environments that say, these expressions are unacceptable, so I have to perform in order to receive my needs being met. And that's very, very true for many of us in our upbringings. And that's why we develop these patterns. So when it comes down to content for me, authentic expression, me being off the hook, me saying what I want, me running longer streams rather than shorter videos that I know would perform a little bit better. There are so many different things that I do that other people would say, why are you doing that? And I'm like, I am literally healing from the inside out and you are watching it. You are witnessing it. And for anyone that grew up in any scenario like me, and there are plenty, there are plenty, humanity's got a level of, I don't know. Anyway, you can use it as an example. Like, you need to be able to stabilize your nervous system around authentic expression, especially when you come from a background where you have to act and perform and you don't know what chaos is coming. So the acting gets dialed up, and then you start managing other people's emotions and behaviors around you, the adults around you, and you reverse the roles of the child and the adult. So I actually was emotionally, I was the adult in my entire upbringing. I had to become an adult at like 4. So emotionally. So it's like, well, now I have to go through, or I have been going through with all of my content. Okay, well, let's redevelop that inner child and allow her to see herself as seen and expressed professionally. And watch as my nervous system adjusts and my mentality adjusts as it is safe. It is literally safe. There are dozens and dozens and hundreds and thousands of people doing this shit online that are authentic, and it is safe. So we have plenty of examples. I hope to be one of those examples for you. And it's really just repetition. The healing comes with repetition. And for me, this will be different for maybe some of you, but for me, that healing has come publicly. And I probably won't stop, honestly. Of course, there are things I'm holding that are not public, but my process is very public. It's number 1. Number 2, my content. How do I choose what to wear? My appearance, how I present comes down to me to body acceptance. I suffered severely from body dysmorphia earlier in my life. And what I was chanting as my mantra is gonna sound funny, but it's part of my healing and becoming like well self-expressed and creatively expressed. Part of my mantra, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, that I started and worked into was, I just want to look good naked. Meaning that I didn't want to fall into the trap that is, I live in Los Angeles. It's very, very Los Angelian. I've been here for 10 years. Also, it's very online personality. And it's like trying to just build up an appearance for other people. So how do you dress? A lot of people dress for performance. They dress for attention. They dress for masculine attention. A lot of women. They just dress for acceptance. A lot of my style, a lot of the way I've worked my content has been every moment of showing up on every video and every live stream in clothing that is minimalist, that has nothing to do with the clothing. I could like give 2 Fs about what I'm actually materially wearing. It has everything to do with the energy internally that I am wearing. So I specifically, through many, many years, would show up publicly in clothing that was much more simplistic than perhaps I would have designed myself into wearing in the past to get more attention, because I've been constantly training myself to be in total, complete self-acceptance with myself and my body, without trying to change my body to meet other people's expectations or needs. Now, a lot of that, when I was reflecting on some of my content this morning, I was looking back, I've made a drastic healed change in my body recently. Through the years, I've been obsessed with exercise because I felt like I had to stay skinny. And when I look back, I can see my energy difference versus now. And I'm like, I think women need to start realizing like it's okay to have a little extra weight on. And it's okay to be skinny too. And it's okay, like wherever you are is okay. It's just about like, how do you feel about yourself? And body dysmorphia is very, very real. And it's in many more women than any of us know, because nobody's talking about it. Nobody can see through your own eyes how you see yourself and your perception. The difference of 10 pounds on a woman could be a make or break. It's crazy for that woman. And I've had to work through these different processes because I realized the amount of effort and attention I was putting into my body to look perfect materially. The second I relaxed, I was like, I'm perfect no matter what. I love my little like squeezable cheeks. And like, it's been really healing. The entire process has been healing. The over-exercise, the then relaxing, the fasting, the working, like the way that I work my food. I have an incredible diet. I always have. Like, you know, it's just like, it's such a healing process. And I'm just showing you the behind the scenes, and I don't have to. Isn't that the fun part about it? That's what's healing about this, is like, it's me sharing. All right. Okay, I'm gonna check in with let me check in with my spirit guides again. Okay. Here's some other aspects. I'm just gonna kind of gloss through how I've healed my own relationship with my content, my relationship with myself, and my relationship with God through my content. Is a lot of the content that I develop, it was really diving into the faith and belief that I could provide for myself with spiritual content and not business and marketing content. Again, always coming back down to like the perceptions of other people, how other people perceive me. So I am a marketing expert. I've got, I don't know, 15 years in digital marketing. And that level of a persona really drove me to think that I needed to perform in a certain way in order to receive public attention, because that's kind of how marketing works. I'm not gonna lie to you. So a lot of my content has been figuring that out too. And now I need to, my heat is on, I didn't realize it. Hold on. Okay. Anyway, that has everything to do with market acceptance. Like, will I be accepted in market for who I am, for the content that I speak about? And of course, like, there are so many examples of spiritual practitioners online. It's insane. It's so easy. And especially when we look at, like, I used to convince myself into this content, I used to look at bigger creators. I'm like, there are plenty of spiritual practitioners with over 1 million subs on YouTube. I can do it. It's not that crazy. If 1 million people, if a small city can say, I want to hear that spiritual content from that person, then I can have enough faith and trust to step forward and start talking about things that previously would have made me uncomfortable because they're close to my heart. Okay, the next app, what was I on? 1, 2, that was number 3. Number 4. The amount of content I produce. I've heard like crazy things from people in the past. They're like, how do you speak as much as you do? Oh my God, you're giving it all away. You guys, I'm giving nothing away. Like, the amount of creative wellspring that I have is insane. If you guys jump into my programs, you'll realize just how little I give away on YouTube and just how much I transform you inside of my programs. A lot of the relationship with my content had to do with my relationship with God, my relationship with Source. There were many fears I have had in this process through the years that were, am I going to have enough? If I speak so openly on camera, on YouTube and everywhere else, like, am I going to have enough content to share and to sell and to create and to invest in? And the answer is always yes. I've developed a huge ability to create on demand, to create superficial creations. That's my YouTube content. You guys, it's funny because people think that this is the deepest shit ever, and I'm like, you haven't reached my programs. I don't do surface level. Like, it's like this, what you're receiving from me on YouTube is my surface level. You want to dive deep? You want to actually make some transformational changes in your life? You want to actually step into your potential and stop making it a fucking bumper sticker on your refrigerator and actually live it? Enroll in my programs. Source code is open for enrollment. I'll leave a link in the description below. It's already in there. Check that out. If you have questions, send me an email. I'm not even going to go into depth right now. I'm going to leave it in the mystery of its Arcane Magic Mystery School. You'll know if it's for you. So with that relationship for God, I really understood and created for myself that there are more than enough creative ideas. I never run out of creative ideas. Never. I know exactly how to get back into my creative flow. I know how to turn it on. And I will say, because this is certainly not the norm for most humans, even creative humans, my creative flow is on demand and on tap. I find it to be a dysfunction in my personality when the creative flow stops. If my creative flow is off for any reason, there's a problem. Whereas most people are like, oh, I have to get creative. Let me ramp up to be creative. And then your typical standard of living, being, breathing is not creative. It's not authentic. It's rote. It's memorized. It's unconscious. It's not how I do things. The second I'm not creative, I like yesterday for 2 hours, I was like, I could not feel my inspiration in my heart, and it felt deafening. And I was like, I have to fix this immediately. I can't do anything without it, without my creative power. Like, it has to be on. I'm never on unconscious autopilot. Like, get this out of here. So a lot of this content and my healing process has been developing my relationship with God to have God constantly supply to me all of my content through my higher self when I need it, which is all the time. And allowing that cycle to create depth for people. So when you fall into my world on the internet, like, you're on the surface. We go deep. We tackle big things together. And we do it in a way that's easy. Sometimes I can be more confrontational with my content. Sometimes it's more tough loving. My YouTube is more tough loving because the audience on YouTube is like, it needs to be toughly loved. But the second people step into my programs, it's sweetly loving. I'm just educating. And it's easier because we've wet out the nonsense. You see my content strategy. A lot of the way that I am forwardly on YouTube is my divine masculine, like my inner, we all have divine feminine and we all have masculine and feminine expressions within ourselves. My divine masculine expression is what you see on YouTube. I'm just like, I will punch my way through this. It's fine. Block, defend, protect, like, yo, let me stake my claim. Do what I want to do. When you come into my programs, it's my feminine expression. It's very nurturing. It's very supportive. It's softer. It's enlightening, literally. And that takes me down to, what number am I on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That takes me down to number 5. Why do I create the content that I do and how is it so authentic? Is number 5 is it all came down to sharing wisdom for me. So through my past, like, I'm one of those people would call me like their secret weapon or like they're like the best kept secret. And there was a point where I realized I have to stop being a secret and I have to start sharing my wisdom. I have tons and tons of wisdom. It is outpouring from me. It's unreasonable the amount of wisdom that I have. It's come through this life, yes. My expansion through being willing to live through my shadows and this life, yes. My past lives, my soul is completely archaic and I have pristine memory of what my soul has been through. So I carry the wisdom and the gifts cosmically throughout time. And that's what I share with you guys in my programs. It's that wisdom. It's those gifts. It's what I call soul food, is the wisdom. It's the actual spiritual current. It's a spiritual energy. It's a spiritual voltage that comes through my channeling and comes through my voice and comes through any level of me speaking and teaching to give you access to that own awakening within yourself, between you and your higher self. So what's interesting about the sharing wisdom component is I used to keep all of that wisdom just for myself. I used to think like, oh, but everybody has this, don't they? Like, but don't you think that way? Like, what do you mean? And people will be like, no, we don't think that way. That's abnormal in the best of ways. Can you please share what's on your mind more? I had to be cultivated into that. I didn't know that people needed the things that I had to say because it really is very innate to me. To even the point, like some of these psychic gifts, my claircognizance, like when I was a kid, adults, fully grown, like 30, 40-year-olds, as a child, would in front of me say something, and I would literally, as a child, as like an 8 to 10-year-old, would just be like, you're lying. That's a huge fabrication. I would just be like, you're lying, and I know you're lying. And then I would start moving into a level of acting just to get them out of my face. But I knew what the truth was. Like at all times, it's insane, like the level of these spiritual gifts. And I know I've got some of you in my audience as well. And I know even me speaking about this is turning on some of those ideas. So anyway, sharing wisdom has been at the forefront of so much of my strategy. And then the last component, what did I say? What number was I on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6 is a lot of my authenticity comes down to feeling safe with visibility. Feeling safe with attention. Feeling safe with eyes on me. Why? Why? And again, I'm just telling you because I think it's healing for me and for all of you that come from any level of a background similar to mine. And if you're out there, like, just fucking comment, like, let me know. Be like, cheers, I did that too, or that kind of happened to me too, or this reflection that you gave me, Stormie, allowed me to see this part about myself and gently just heal this in a moment. Feeling safe with vulnerability. I was a latchkey kid. I was raised by people that were never around. They were always working, and they were severely mentally unstable. I had to take care of myself and my little brother. Like, I'm not saying none of it's bad. Like, I enjoyed my childhood. I had a lot of freedom. A lot of freedom. Like, I just, like, did what I needed to do. But a lot of the way that my mind psychologically developed, and most actually my heart space, I'd say, was emotional development, was around self-care, self-nurturing, self-containment. I heard somebody I forget what book it was recently that I read, or somewhat recently, that called it being an island. Like, there are certain personality types that are more island-like. I'm one of those. Where it's like, I just know how to self-nurture, self-realize. I don't necessarily need lots of people in order to process or to feel accepted. So a lot of my healing has come down to creating as much visibility as I can around my authentic personality and being okay with having external attention on me. Because my greatest safety is like, let me just go be by myself. I love my company, like, by myself. Anyone that is in that island archetype will totally get me. Like, I forget what it's called, where you contain your own processing ability. Like, I don't really need other people to process. I self-process. I self-realize. Oh my gosh, I'll think about the word later, and then I'll be like, I don't have the word in mind. There's a psychological concept behind this. Anyway, so a lot of my content was focused on visibility. How can I be the most visible and condition my nervous system and work through my negative belief patterns and allow my heart to feel safe when I say things that I don't mean to say, or I say something that might be a little bit off, or I say something that might be slightly offensive. What happens when I can't edit these videos? It was a huge practice for me for the last couple of years, as I've just been creating content with the intention of, like, Stormie, you're going to sit your butt down. Whatever you say, like, you got to trust it. You got to trust that it's going to make the way, because you're not editing this. And it took me a long time. It's taken me probably a couple hundred videos to condition my nervous system to feel safe being myself around people and to have attention on me in exchange for me being me, which, again, could be terrifying for most people, and was terrifying for me before I started this journey as well. Okay, I'm going to check in with my spirit guides and see if there's anything else you guys need from me in this reflection. My Stormie stories, thank you for joining me. They're telling me, they're like, peer through the veil to the audience and say, I can't care about you until you care about how I do things. A lot of people want me to send them energy. They want to exchange with me. They want my care, love, attention, and affection. But if you don't understand the intention around how I create, why, and how healing it is, essentially, it's trying to take from me what I am literally offering as the healing. Like, you guys are missing the mark with me. It's like, I don't completely understand this, but my guides are saying you're attaching to one aspect of how I heal and trying to steal it through the camera, even energetically. And it's like, actually, the way that I'm healing is completely different to anything that you've likely seen or received elsewhere, to the point where you're overlooking it and assuming that I'm just like, oh yeah, let's show up on camera. You have no idea the level of healing for me to shoot this video today in this time and space, in the way that I am, literally wearing a t-shirt. Like, even this, I never, like, the level of comfort I have in myself, the level of just, like, personal care and love and attention for me to be who I am. My guides are saying, as you understand how I create my content, as you learn how to care about the methodology that you can't see and that you're taking for granted, because you assume that when someone is relaxed and comes on screen in authenticity, that it must have been easy. Look at how I walk my walk. I have over 500 videos on my channel. There are many that are shorts, but I've got at least 300 that are long form content pieces. And if you scroll through my content, you'll see how uncomfortable I am in my skin when I started. That's growth. And that growth doesn't happen overnight. This has probably been 4 or 5 years, maybe. And a lot of you are being very short-sighted with who you are. You're like, oh my God, I have to make all these changes immediately. Like, change does happen immediately in your mind. But the integration of that change, the walking the walk to actually becoming the person that feels comfortable, confident in their skin, that loves themselves so much that they'll just show up publicly, openly, healing. Even me doing this, my little quirks, like the level of healing that I've had to do within myself to show up this way, that's the methodology. This is your screening test. My spirit guides are saying this is your screening test. If you get me, dive deeper. If you don't get me, stay on the surface and let yourself be flung out. It's just like, I don't know. If you do get me, if you do understand this methodology, if you're interested and you want to dive deeper and learn more, if you like me, quite literally, my guides never say this to me, but they're saying it to me in this way. If you like me, meaning like, if you like the way that I show up, the way that I show up is so fine-tuned, it is so intentional, it is so whole and so creatively healed that if you like me, if you like my energy, if you like the way I show up, then you would benefit highly from any and all of my programs, but more specifically the source code framework. Because this is my energy. This is how I heal. It's a softening and unfolding process for the most whole aspects of you and your inner child to feel comfortable and supported through your nervous system throughout all time and space. And I don't have to be like, this is how you heal your inner child. That's all mental. What I'm doing is modeling. What I'm doing is showing you the example. When you work with me in my programs, you're not going to get this on YouTube. You don't have access to my energy. You just have access to me speaking on camera. When you come into my programs, I'm an energy healer. I move energy for a living. Like, I transform energy in my program through my energy. My energy works very, very hard for me. My energy, like everything that I've built is built on sweat equity. I put in the work, I put in the magic, and I materialize that through everything that I do. So whenever people work with me, they're in my orbit, they're in my my unified field, my field of energy. And my field of energy conditions other people's energy. The wonderful clients that I have, the people in my programs, ultimately to unlock their potential through authentic expression. To be the most healed version of yourself. So if you like me, if you like my vibe, if you like my authentic expression and you want to learn from me in any number of ways, we go very, very deep in my programs. Please check out the source code. It is my monthly membership. I'm doing it through the end of the year. It's also my channel program with the Element and Guardian of Storm. I work with the elementals. It's very shamanic. I teach you about the elementals. I teach you about enlightenment, and I teach you about ascension in the way that I do. We've only just touched the fucking surface in this video. Come join me. Come join me. Storm asked me to do this video, the source code through the end of the year. I likely will do something different next year, and likely I will repackage this program and sell it for much more. So, because that's what I do in my business. So if you want to jump in and you want to learn, you're getting an insane amount of value through the end of the year. Insane. I'm educating on so much. I'm so present and available in that program and in that group. You get access to my energy and the healing as well. The group itself is the way that I build energy dynamics and alchemical support is I'm actually trained when you work with me in any of my programs, but this one specifically, I'm training your energy. It's active energy work. My guides, the elementals that I work with, are actually working through your energy to support you so that you don't have to do your personal spiritual growth the hard way. It doesn't mean that there won't be stuff for you to move through on your journey by any means. Like, you're human, you're going to have to. But the hard way is the pretending, it's the masking, it's the self-abandonment, the self-denial in order to get your needs met. And you don't have to do that with me. I will train you out of those out of those ideas by you just being in the energy of my program and learning from me. I'm very generous with my content. Not just here in my programs too. Source code is fucking awesome. I don't know how I published a bunch of videos this week for everyone in source code, and it's just like, oh my god, it's been such a blast. But it's like the best. You're never gonna learn the stuff you learn from me anywhere else. Like, it's my channel. It's my embodiment. I've dedicated my life to this work, and it's been really important to me for my own healing. So, I mean, you scratch the surface with YouTube, okay? Come on the journey. Join me in source code. There's a pay in full bonus if you pay in full through the end of the year. There are payment plans. I promise you will enjoy the journey. You will enjoy the ride. There is no do, or no, what is it? There is no try. There's do or die. There is no, my guide says this to me all the time. There is no try. You're either going to do it or you're not. So jump, do it. I guess I see 5-5 on my little numbers here. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I will see you soon. Thanks for witnessing me. Thanks for participating in your own healing journey through seeing me go through mine and holding space in the way that I do. And I will see you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Okay, bye.